Not a day goes by in which we don't hear or read about some heinous crime. You can read about a brutal assault in the morning newspaper and then tune into the nightly news and hear about some other crazy crime. With mass media picking up on nearly everything, we are bombarded with this type of news. What's even more terrifying is the number of young people that are making headlines for their acts of evil. Don't forget to watch today's video to the very end for the most dangerous kinds in the world. Number 11. Christian Fernandez. Perhaps the scariest thing about this kid is that he has been released from prison. We have a 19-year-old psychopath who killed his 2-year-old half-brother roaming the streets after spending nearly 8 years behind bars. Jacksonville isn't exactly a stranger to horrific murders, but Fernandez became the youngest murder suspect in Duval County's history when he was arrested in 2011. How did he kill his victim? He repeatedly slammed the defenseless kid's head into a bookshelf in a fit of anger. When he saw that his younger half-brother was unresponsive, Fernandez carried the dying boy to his bed. We can only hope that this kid has learned to control his murderous rage. Number 10. Jordan Brown. Brown had a hardcore jealous streak, which will undoubtedly make you lose sleep. Sure, his crime was horrific, but he was also recently released, which is just as chilling. Jordan Brown is now 6'2" and in his 20s, but he was incarcerated as a pudgy 11-year-old with serious jealousy issues. You see, Jordan didn't like the idea of his father's fiancée being 8.5 months pregnant. He felt that a newborn would be given all of the attention, so he hatched a plan. In 2011, he used the 20-gauge shotgun that his father had given him for Christmas to solve this problem by shooting 26-year-old Kenzie Houck while she slept. The unborn baby also died as a result. Let's hope that he is rehabilitated. Number 9. Amardeep Sada. Serial killers are nothing new. They've roamed the earth for ages and will continue to. In some ways, Amardeep Sada wasn't much different from your run-of-the-mill psychopath who gets his kicks from killing young children. In 2007, he allegedly bashed his 6-month-old cousin's head in with a rock or possibly a brick. He then repeated his cruel and heartless deed on his baby sister, and then again on his neighbor's kid. There are a couple of truly awful facts about this case. For starters, some neighbors were aware that Sada was responsible for the first 2 deaths, but it was considered a family matter and not reported. This means that his third victim could have been saved. Perhaps the most chilling fact is that Sada was just 8 years old when he committed these crimes in 2006. Number 8. Bever Brothers. You've probably heard of the Mendez brothers, who gained notoriety for their crimes against their parents back in the 1990s. You might not have heard of the Bever brothers, though. These 2 gems came from a reclusive family that lived in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Robert Bever was 18, and his younger brother Michael was 16. The boys had 2 younger brothers that were 12 and 7 along with 3 sisters who were 13, 5, and 2. They apparently wanted to do something so terrible that it would outdo the tragic Columbine incident, so they put together a plan. On July 22, 2015, these 2 twisted individuals bludgeoned both of their parents, their 2 younger brothers, and their 5-year-old sister. The 13-year-old sister managed to barely survive the senseless act. At least Robert and Michael left the 2-year-old sister untouched. The good news is that these 2 monsters will never be set free. Number 7. Joseph McVeigh. On January 2, 2011, police went to a house near Big Prairie, Ohio after they received a 911 call from a concerned neighbor. Upon arriving, police discovered the lifeless body of a 46-year-old woman who was face down on the floor of her living room. The gunshot wound to her head was a good indicator of the cause of death. But who would do such a thing? It turns out that it was the woman's 10-year-old son, Joseph McVeigh. Well, there must be a good reason, right? According to young Joseph and his 15-year-old sister who witnessed the entire incident, Joseph's mother had asked him to bring in some firewood. He didn't want to. Instead, he went to his room, grabbed his .22 caliber rifle, and shot his mother in the head. Guess he doesn't like being told what to do. Number 6. Kim Edwards and Lucas Markham. Here's a 2-for-1 entry that features a totally twisted twosome. Kim Edwards and Lucas Markham were a couple of 15-year-old lovers who shocked the United Kingdom in 2016 when they were involved in a gruesome double homicide. What is believed to have started out as a joke escalated into the killing of Kim Edwards' 49-year-old mother and 13-year-old sister. Apparently, little Kim wasn't getting the attention that she thought she deserved from her mother. The pair attacked their victims with a kitchen knife as they slept and then finished them off by smothering them with pillows. After their cold and callous killings, the couple apparently had an intimate moment, took a bath together to wash the blood away, and then watched some Twilight movies. Markham confessed that the only reason they killed Edward's little sister was that he feared that she'd call the police. Number 5. Jake Evans, who says that being under the age of 18 is a curse. In the case of Jake Evans, it's a blessing. You see, Jake had a plan to kill his mother and sister who he lived with, and then he was going to go to his grandparents' house and kill them along with his oldest sister. On October 12, 2012, Jake set his evil plan in motion when he shot his mother and sister. Luckily for his grandparents and older sister, Jake called 911 to confess his crimes instead of venturing to his grandparents' house. He claimed to have put the plan together after watching the Rob Zombie remake of the movie Halloween, in which a boy kills his relatives. He avoided the death sentence because he was a minor, but he still got a 4 to 5 year sentence. Number 4. Gerald Milton. 31-year-old Jemima Ray and 30-year-old Charles Fisher were drug dealers, and on June 29, 2015, they arranged to sell some marijuana. A simple transaction was supposed to take place at a park in Omaha, Nebraska, but the deal turned out to be far from simple. Upon their arrival at Miller Park, the two were ambushed by 3 assailants. Ray was killed when he took bullets to the head and neck, while Fisher was hit in the shoulder and luckily survived. Sure, we hear about this type of thing all the time, but the real shocker is the fact that the assailants were young boys. 12-year-old Gerald Milton, his 17-year-old brother, and a 15-year-old friend had planned to rob the 2 dealers for an easy score. Seeing that Gerald is a minor, you can sleep easy knowing that he'll be back on the streets soon. Number 3. William Schultz. William Schultz is deranged and extremely dangerous. There's really no other way to put it. It seems that the 18-year-old William believed that the end of the world was drawing near, and he wanted to knock off a few things on his bucket list. At the top of his list, well, William wanted to see what it was like to kill another human being. On April 26, 2015, Schultz approached a house, cut the power, and entered. He crept upstairs where 9-year-old Jordan Almgren was sleeping and stabbed the child to death. But why single out Jordan? Schultz reasoned that Jordan was little and weak. He'll have at least 25 years to reconsider his life's goals as he sits in prison waiting for parole. Number 2. Bobby Woods Jr. It can be said with certainty that not all young people have the ability to think clearly and logically. This is especially true of 17-year-old Bobby Woods Jr. of Lufkin, Texas. Woods lived with his girlfriend and 3-year-old Mason Cutler, who was the son of his girlfriend's brother. Woods' girlfriend was pregnant, and this posed a bit of a problem in Bobby's mind. He felt that their house was too small to accommodate another child. His solution? He took young Mason to a pond behind their house, pushed the toddler into the water, and walked away as the screaming child drowned. A truly heartless act and a terrible solution. Woods admitted that he planned the whole thing. It also turns out that his girlfriend knew what happened, but she was deemed not fit to stand trial. Number 1. Dequan Stribling, Quindorus Burress, and Jace West. When most normal and well-adjusted young teenagers get together, they usually engage in activities that don't involve senseless murder. That wasn't the case in October of 2017 when 3 youths in Baldwin, Mississippi were looking for something to do. Instead of perhaps going to a bowling alley, playing video games, or just harmlessly hanging out, they decided to callously kill a 70-year-old man. Henry Adams Jr.'s was found outside of his house on October 23rd. Dequan Stribling and Quindorus Burress were just 13 years old while Jace West was 14. With that, we end today's video. Consider subscribing to our channel in order to join in a next time for more of such interesting content.